G'day, I am Mordechai Becher,
And I am Yoshua Karsh.
and welcome to Two Rabbis and a Podcast. And today, for something completely different, we are not talking about anything in the Torah itself. We're not talking about controversy in Jewish history or philosophy. We're going to talk about books, but physical books, because I feel there's a joy in just the physical sefer, the book itself. There is something special about owning and using a book, aside from
Yeah.
the fact that you can use it on Shabbos and Yom Tov, but books in
An
themselves.
amazing technology that allows learning even on Shabbos and Yom Tov.
Shocking but true. You heard it here. And but every book also, not for most book, many books, not every book,
Yeah.
many books tell a story as well in the actual book. So I have like a number I pulled off my shelves here. And I want to start with this. This is a Haggadah. It's a beautiful Haggadah, leather, embossed leather, wood, and copper. And if you read it's probably hard to read here, but it says made in Palestine.
Nice.
This Haggadah was printed
Mm.
in Tel Aviv, but the year in which it was printed was 1936. So 1936, Tel Aviv, it says on the bottom here, printed in Eretz Yisrael, and in parentheses it says Palestine.
Nice.
And it is, the company is called Umanut, which means art. Nachum Gutman, Hotzat Umanut, Eretz Yisrael. And it's got written on the front cover, inside front cover, that it belonged to someone whose name I cannot read, but Jerusalem, 1944.
Does it illustrated? I mean,
Yes, it's an illustrated Haggadah.
illuminated or whatever.
Yeah. It's got some interesting, like,
Yeah. So what do they look like? Now, see, let's
they're
let's
not
say
very
you're
good.
looking at some of these illustrations because this has been an issue I've had with some of these Haggadahs because sometimes they're borrowing from illustrations from much earlier Haggadahs. Does that look like that? What's going on over there?
No, these are
Oh,
original works by
okay.
the artist Gutman.
Okay.
Um, yeah, but it's the.
Hmm.
I mean, illustration that might be something that we could talk about before Pesach.
Right.
Exotic Haggadahs, and there are
Right.
many.
Right.
But the
So,
illustrations here are not the main thing. This just fascinates me because here it is, a what we might call a Palestinian Haggadah. Um, uh, Israel before 1948 was called Palestine. It's a Roman name for the country, Palestinia, and they tried to de-Judaize it. But here we have the city of Tel Aviv, a beautiful Jewish city, and a Haggadah printed there. This belonged to my father, Alav Hashalom.
oh, beautiful. Now, can I ask you just some follow-up questions?
Mhm.
A, can you smell the leather when you smell it?
No,
Okay.
there's no.
That ended all my questions because then I was going to ask, can you smell the wood? And then,
Oh no, you cannot. No,
no.
it's type of old, but
But I seem to remember being in yeshiva together with you at a point where I think you had like a small set of shas that was leather bound, and you used to inhale the leather often. You just like get so much pleasure from the smell of the leather on the outside of it. So I just wanted to know
I do
if
have
you,
I do have books which are leather bound, and I got to say I do enjoy the smell of the leather and the feel of the leather. This is
look at that. That is substantially
it's a
bound.
beautiful, yeah, it's a beautiful binding. It's by a guy in Brooklyn, does custom binding.
Oh,
So
that's
this
your
one,
guy. I spoke to that guy.
so this one happens to be a fascinating book, which is printed in Prague in the printed in Prague in the early 19th century, 1800s. And it is the book is Torat Ha'olah, Torah Sa'olah, a book written by the Ramah Ramosha Isserles, famous for his contribution to the Shulchan Aruch Code of Jewish Law. He wrote a book called Torah Sa'olah, which is actually a book explaining the reasoning and the rationale, mystical and philosophical, behind every aspect of the temple, the clothes of the Kohanim, the sacrifices, the korban, everything. It's a few hundred pages with deep rationale, tamei hamitzvahs, of every detail of the Beis Hamikdash, the clothing of the Kohanim, everything. It's like an incredible, incredible work that many people do not know, are not aware of. He's quoting freely from the Zohar, mystical tradition. He quotes from the Rambam, Guide for the Perplexed.
That's where last week, I think, or the week before, you said that he's one of the few people that freely quotes from both
Yes,
Moreh Nevuchim and the Zohar.
Yeah, and one of the interesting components of this particular edition is that when they publish books, they would very often people would do a subscription and pre-order copies so that it would finance the author, the writing the book. It's called Shmot HaPrenumeranten, the people who pre-ordered. And so it goes by towns. So one town is called Suvalk. So Suvalk, we had some very famous sages from Suvalk. I believe that the Kotlers were from there, weren't they? The Suvalk.
I don't know the answer to that. I can check that.
So, but you've got a lengthy list of people who are subscribing to the book from the city of Suvalk, and some famous names of families. The
Did you say Brisk? Did you say they mentioned Brisk in there?
Yeah, that's also there. Then you've got Horodna, Rav Eliezer Landau of Horodna, Rav Zev Wolf of Horodna, Asher Ginsburg, etc. You've got Luna, I've never heard of it, Minsk. So Rav David Tevel, who was the head of the Beis Din of Minsk, is the first person on the list of pre-orders from the city of Minsk, Rav David Tevel. You've got Rav Shmuel Luria. There's a very famous family name for you.
I have Rav Aaron Kotler was born in Sislevich.
Oh, Sislevich, okay.
And eventually he learned in Slobodka, and then he became a Rav in Slutsk and Kletsk.
So not Suvalk. I'm thinking of, Suvalk, the Suvalka Rav, who was a famous Gaon who actually taught at Yeshiva University. He was the father-in-law of Yaakov Kamenetsky. I'm trying to remember the name. So people call him the Suvalka Rav, even though he was in Suvalk for, I think, less than a year, and he was in Yeshiva University for like 30 years. But he's no.
That anyway, often is the case.
Karlin. So the Av based in Shmuel Avigdor, who is the Av based in of Karlin. Kovna. The Av based in of Kovna. Kovna, we have the second subscriber here is Rabbi Yisrael Salanter.
That is cool.
Yisrael Salanter.
That is cool.
Who subscribed from the city of Kovno.
That's Rav David Lifshitz.
That's it, Rav David.
Yeah. We met Rav David Lifshitz. He came to Itri.
Did he?
Yeah, he came to Itri when we were in Itri. He came to Itri, and we got to meet him. Yeah,
so he was known as the Suvalka Rav.
Yeah, he was. That's
and we have Bialystok, and here's Brisk. Rav Isser Yehuda, Rav Eliyahu Verhaftig.
Verhaftig, that's a name.
Rav Eliezer Malin, maybe related to...
Yeah, Rav Malin, yes.
Avram Rosenberg of Pinsk.
So you see, you can get lost in these things. Like I that's why I was a tad bit late meeting with Mordecai because I was taking some of my own off the shelves and then I started looking through them. And before you knew it, I was traveling in time and to different places, as
So
Mordecai seems to be doing.
yes, I'm sorry about that. So this is a little less than 200 years old, this
Yeah.
book, and you've got these subscriptions. Actually, it must be no less, yeah, much less, 150. And but it's got subscriptions.
Now,
Uh,
who pay you? Did you have that bound?
I had that bound, yes,
Uh-huh.
I had that bound.
So this guy's doing pretty well off you.
It was a
That guy in,
terrible binding, and I couldn't bear the
yeah, of course. But that guy in Brooklyn,
yeah.
does he speak to you? Do you have on a first name basis, I'm
No,
assuming.
but I did recently have a Siddur bound in leather, and I was at his store, and he
Yeah,
said, just he has this beautiful leather. He's
yeah.
binding the Satmar Rebbe just ordered his Shas bound in leather, and he says, I've got some of the same leather. I looked at it, I said, that's nice leather, so we did it. This
How do you
is
like that? You're picking out the leather like that's bespoke. Who has bespokes for him? You
well,
do.
if you
You
get the
have bespokes for him.
if you
I
get the
doubt if
bound,
even the
but
Satmar Rebbe chose the leather that he wanted. He just probably picked what he thought was the finest leather. But no, you go in and he's
well,
got swatches
yeah, because
and you're getting a bespoke. He
he
measures
had
you.
left over from the
He's
from the
got a thing
Rebbe.
measuring you,
So I got
taking it in a little
technically
bit. Do you
this is
want this
called
safer taken
Shirayim.
in a little bit?
This is called Shirayim from the Rebbe.
This is
I'm not that happy
serious.
about it being from the Satmar, but nevertheless, this is a book. I did not get this bound. It's
I
called
I hope not.
Tapuchei Zahav,
Yes.
Apples of Gold,
Yes.
which is actually an abbreviated version of the Reishis Chochma, and this is from 720,
Nice.
printed in Mantua, Italy.
1720.
Mantua, yeah, Mantua, Italy,
Yeah.
and it was printed in the printing press of a doctor. It says Malat Harofe, the doctor, Reb Raphael Weiss Italia, Rabbi Raphael Weiss of Italy. And under it, it's got Conlic de Superior, which means under the license of the superior. That means it was censored and was printed with permission from the church.
Is there any indications of sense? Do they have to sign off on it or it just says that?
It just says it. I assume in order to print it, you have to have, it depends on
Yeah.
the place, you have to have permission from the church to print this so it doesn't have anything offensive in it.
Is Livorno in it? Where's Livorno?
That's in Italy. That's where the Chidor printed his books.
So I have
Oh,
a,
there you go. Oh,
I have a, this is a Tikkun Chatzos from Livorno.
oh, wow.
And that is, it works out to about 150 years ago. Shnas Erenu Beyesha. And
Yeah.
it's a Tikkun Chatzos from Livorno. So who did you say the Chida had his stuff printed there?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But-
why is
and
Italy?
also the
Why
Or
is
HaChaim,
Italy?
Reb Chaim
Why?
Ibn Attar. Also,
Yeah.
they had very good printing presses there. As you know, the very first complete Shas, the first Masechtas were printed by the Sonsino press in Italy, and the first complete Shas in Vilna in 1520 to 1523 was printed in, sorry, not Vilna, in Venice by Daniel Bomberg. Daniel Bomberg was not Jewish; he was a Christian printer, but he did a beautiful job of printing. I saw at Sotheby's a complete set of the Venice edition.
Do you think if you were at Sotheby's and you just said, I want to smell the leather, would they be at all concerned about letting you near it?
I think they probably have a lot of people who like it.
Okay.
I wouldn't keep emphasizing that.
I would. I like to because I just remember that. I can't get that image out
So
of
here
me.
is
Look at that.
Mantua. That's the one.
It's
That's
got a snail. Is that a
about
snail?
300. No, there's actually it's a picture of an angel. Apparently,
A
that's
snail-like angel?
well, the printer. His name is Raphael, and he's also a doctor.
Oh,
So I'm
I see.
assuming it's the angel Raphael. At the back of this book, there is the name of the owners,
Oh, nice.
which it says are the it's Libro de Signore. It's from the library of the Fratelli Seforni,
The brothers.
the Seforno brothers of Saronja. It's a place in
Nice.
Italy. So it's like in type of Italian,
You
not
think
quite
it's
Italian
the
script.
Robovadia Sforno? Do you think it
They may be descendants. There's
might
no
be
way
right?
of knowing. But you know, you do find books that were regularly censored. I saw a shas recently that was printed in Russia, and in the Hanukkah story, it doesn't talk about Greeks. It talks about Romans.
Interesting.
Why? Because they were followers in Russia of the Greek Orthodox Church. So they didn't
Ah,
want to put Greeks as the villains in the Gemara.
that's
So
awesome.
instead, it's Romans.
That's
So
awesome.
you do find various censorship, but in old books like this one, it does say under license that it was printed with that has been censored beforehand. I did see a book which has got they drill through the spine here,
Yeah.
and there's thread put through there, and it's sealed with a wax seal, so that no one could insert pages after the
Oh,
censor went
because it's
through
been
it.
the censors looked at it
Yeah,
already.
it's like the lahavdil. It's like a kashrut seal
Nice.
on the
Nice.
book.
I have one I want to show you.
Yes.
This is part of a set of Machzorim. So it is from, it says 1906, and it is printed in London by Reverend D.A. De Sola. And what I like about these, and I also like doing this in general, whenever I see an old sitter or Machzorim, if you look by when it comes to the area about Kriyas Torah and they have the Mishaberachs, a lot of times they will have, like here, this one over here on this page, it says, I will read it to you, our sovereign Lord King Edward, our gracious Queen Alexandra, George Prince of Wales, the Princess of Wales, and the royal family. Now, Edward, I just want to point out why this is interesting, because Edward abdicated.
Aha.
He was not king for that long. And then his brother George became the king. And that's how Elizabeth became the queen and the present uh, the present king, etc. That line, if it hadn't been for Edward abdicating, so I feel like this, even if there's
One
nothing
moment in
interesting,
time.
yeah. So, and this is something that can happen when you're doing, like when you're looking back in the back of it, and you're suddenly attached to the Sefer or to the Siddur or something like that for something that has nothing to do with the Ruchnius, the Avodas Hashem aspect of the Sefer. But if you look through, like you could go through all sorts of Siddur, and they don't even have to be that ancient, but especially ones from Russia or other places, they'll have like the Tsar, and
Oh
they'll
yeah.
mention specific czars and stuff, and it's
There are
just
siddur with prayers for the Soviet Socialist Republic. I've seen.
these that's such fascinating, like stuff. I doubt if there's been a sitter, maybe have there been Sidurim printed in America where they refer to specific presidents? I know they do the president, vice president, stuff like that, but have you ever seen where they'll mention a specific? Because that would be
I have
interesting.
not seen it. I have not seen it. No.
But just think of that. This is that small period when Edward was king of England during that time.
Hmm.
No smell from that one.
No. This is this belonged to my mother-in-law, Alea Hashalom. It's a set of the Malbim commentary on Chumash that was printed in his lifetime. It actually is
Really?
1880. It actually says Mayor Leibush Malbim Shlita. Mayor Leibush Malbim,
Nice.
may he live a long and good life. And it's printed in Bialystok by partner. Sorry, it's printed by the partners Chaim Noach Eisenstadt of Warsaw and Shmuel Isaac Peshes of Bialystok. And it's there's Russian on the inside front page indicating, and it was printed in the city of Warsaw,
Wow.
um,
What year did it say?
1880.
Wow. That's
And you
cool.
can just see here that, yeah, printed during the lifetime of the Malbim. You can see there it says Schlitter. after the Malbims.
That is awesome. That's very
I
cool.
find that fascinating. It's a very very nice edition, and it's still in pretty good print.
I
Now,
bought a Shmir Salashon, an old Shmir Salashon. There was this bookstore, which I think we've discussed that you also visited, but there was like this used bookstore right near the Shuk in Mea Shearim. Do you remember? It was like it was like a narrow, you know what I'm talking about? It was like this narrow, almost like a closet kind of place. As you were right before the entrance to that Shuk and Mea Shearim, they had this old book, and they would have sometimes
oh yes, I do remember.
you could get like old Sfarim there that were not valuable because there was something missing or whatever. But I got my brother Yaakov. I got him a Shmir Salashon that had Muga written in it, which indicated that either the Chafetz Chaim or his son-in-law or somebody went through the Sefer. A lot of times it was the Chafetz Chaim, they said, who went through to make sure there was nothing wrong with the Sefer.
His daughter
When,
also went through.
or his daughter. So, but
Hmm.
it's just a little bit of and why does that? I don't know. Why does that seem to matter so much? It's just like this connection to people and times. It lets you travel there to
I think
some
so. You
degree.
see that they were human beings who wrote these books and who lived and breathed, and you know, yeah, some books, by the way, which one of the most amazing websites is HebrewBooks.org,
Yes.
which for free has many books that are unavailable in
They scanned all these
incredible.
old books.
So I actually bought. You can get them in print. So if you look at this, this is a really nice copy. This is Tzitzat Novel Tzvi, which is a book that is out of print. And I found like to buy a regular edition. Someone I know bought one for $400. I did not tell him, but I basically ordered this from HebrewBooks.org, and it
What
was
you can order? I didn't know you could
you can
order
order
from them.
printed editions. They'll print it. This was about $35, including postage.
I had no idea you could do that with them.
This book is Rabbi Yaakov Sasportas was one of the only rabbinic figures who consistently, from beginning to end, opposed Shabtai Tzvi, the false Messiah, from beginning to end, vocally
Nice.
and at probably at some risk to himself. And he wrote about this in his book Tzitzat Novel Tzvi. And it's not easy to get it, but I saw it on Hebrew Books.
Yeah.
You can order it, and
Yeah.
bingo, I got it, and it was, I did not tell my friend that I paid $35 for it.
Of
I
course.
hide it when he comes to the house because I don't have to feel bad about paying $400
Right.
for an actual edition. And there's and photo offset. I think there's a degree of divine providence. You know, after the destruction or after the expulsion from Spain,
Yeah.
1492, around that time, printing was being invented, developed. And
Yeah.
so, yes, we lost manuscripts, we lost probably thousands of books, but printing comes on the scene. And now Jews are heavily into printing, and we're printing all over the place, right? Printing smart. After the
I,
Second World War,
yeah.
there was, of course, the thousands of books destroyed. And I'm not dismissing the human life. But we're talking about one specific issue here. And
Right.
very soon afterwards, photo offset printing was invented, and you could print things cheap, very, very cheaply. There were books that were printed by the Joint. There are all types of books printed. I saw a Gemara printed in Munich in a displaced persons camp, and this is all. They were able to print things very cheaply. I saw books printed in Shanghai for the Mir Yeshiva and by the Mir Yeshiva. There
You
were
remember Vada Yeshivas?
Yes, Vada Yeshivas used to have a bookstore on Rehov Tachkamoni, I think it was.
It was their mission to print for him that everybody could afford. They
Yes,
were, and used to be able to get them. But the problem was that after about 5 years, the paper just fell apart on some of those ones I've noticed on the ones. But anyways, that was a
yeah.
publishing house that was there to
that was yeah, that was
Make
very,
Svarim available
it
during
was
that
wonderful.
time and after.
And it's also type of interesting. There's a story they tell about um, the Joint, which is um, a charitable organization in the United States that was primarily secular, somewhat assimilated German
Mm.
Jews, and they sent lots of money to Europe. So it was around, I think, before the Second World War. A lot of the yeshivas were in dire financial straits in Europe, and a delegation of rabbis went to the Joint to appeal to them to give money to the yeshivas in Europe, and the various rabbis. I think it was I don't remember who were the other rabbis, but they elected Rabbi Yosef Dov Soloveitchik to speak for them. He was eloquent, great speaker. His English was excellent. And Rabbi Yosef Dov Soloveitchik he said, when I was a child in Brest-Litovsk, Lithuania, I remember that we were in Cheder and we got a package from for the Joint,
You're talking about the Rav.
the Rov, Rav Yosef Dov Soloveitchik, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And we got a package from the Joint of powdered chocolate milk. And our Cheder Rebbe made the milk. We'd had no idea what this was. And we tried it. And he says, we spontaneously burst into dancing and singing
Seriously.
because we'd never tasted
What a good story.
anything so good in our entire
Oh,
life.
that's
I
awesome.
remember seeing the crate Joint. He says, later, I went to yeshiva. I went out of to a different city, and I saw on the shelf a new a shas that was not falling apart, a Talmud that was not falling apart. I'd never seen such in Brisk. I'd never seen a new book. I never saw a book that was not falling apart. I came to this place and I see a Talmud that was in perfect condition. I took it off the shelf. My hands were trembling. I opened it up, and inside it said, financed by the Joint Distribution Service. He says, he says, it's been a long time that I've wanted to say thank you to the Joint for doing for both of
How do
those.
you like that? How do
He
you like
says,
that?
if you
That's awesome.
finance the yeshivas, there'll be thousands of children and adolescents and young people who
That's
will also
beautiful.
have the same feeling of gratitude towards the Joint that I have towards you today. And
That's
apparently,
beautiful.
this was effective, and they got the money. But that was the power of these books. This, which you'll recognize, Mishneh Torah of
I've
Maimonides,
heard of it. Yeah.
but this is the edition. This is the Rome edition. Speaking of photo offset,
Yeah.
this is the Rome edition, which is actually pre-printing. Um, oh, sorry, it was a one of the early printed editions,
Okay.
and but they were able to do a silum,
Yeah.
basically
Photocopy or photo
photo
something.
offset. This is
Yeah.
his book of the mitzvahs, and you can
Yeah.
open it up and just opening up at random.
So well, can
It's
we
got
just hold it closer so we can see the
oh yeah,
script?
there you go.
Wow.
Laws of
Wow.
Talmud Torah, and
Yeah. That is cool.
so there's many, and this is not
Right.
an expensive volume. This was relatively cheap.
Was that from Hebrew Books?
No, no, this is from actually Mossad Harav Kook, Rav Kook Publishing House
There's another
in
publishing
Israel,
house where
which is
in Israel we
amazing. They have
get,
their
yeah.
sale once a year, which is
Yes. That
phenomenal.
was a big deal for us. Yeah.
Yeah, and so again, when you look at these books, we realize that these are just precious. You know what I mean? Jewish people, we kiss books.
Yeah.
We close the book, we kiss it, right? We don't sit on the same level as a book, right?
Yeah.
We don't lean things on books. There's
Yeah.
a
I have a
reverence.
good story. I
Yes.
have a good story. So there is there's a book called The Jew and the Lotus,
Oh,
and it's written
Roger
by
Kamenetz.
Roger
Yeah.
Kamenetz about this group of Jews who go to meet with the Dalai Lama in Dharamsala, India. These are American Jews, and they it it's really a I love the book. It's just I don't know. The characters are so delicious. Everyone is like a real character, these
Great.
people that went on. And there's lots of just absolutely great stories. But anyways, the pretense underlying this visit was that the Dalai Lama is now a leader of a people in exile, and he wanted to meet with Jews who could share what they believe are the secrets to Jewish life in exile. The Jews have I mean, it's terrible that we had to do it, but miraculously successfully, we have had a several thousand year exile. And so he wanted to learn whatever he could learn from the people. I assumed that there was also a fundraising connection there, but that was certainly a part of it. Anyway, so he sent after this event, he sent emissaries to the United States. I don't know how many different places they visited, but they came to Chicago. And I do not remember where I read this. In my mind, I think I read this in the Chicago Tribune. I don't know exactly where I read this, but there was there was a journalist who was following these guys around, and they went to several different Jewish schools in Chicago. I think they were the one in particular that they were talking about with this incident was the Ida Crown Jewish Academy. I'm not sure, but they came and they sat in on classes at this Jewish day school, Jewish high school. And now imagine you're a teacher and you've been told that there's an emissary of you know, of the Dalai Lama who's trying to learn the Jewish secret of success in the exile. Now, and you're told they're going to come visit your class. Imagine what you think you're doing. You're preparing, like, what would you say? Like you really want to impress these people. So the journalist who was there noticed that they were falling asleep. These emissaries were bored inside this class. They were not apparently, and I just imagine myself being the teacher and trying to impress these people and just see them nodding off. But at one point, one of the students accidentally knocked a safer onto the ground and then picked it up and kissed it and then put it back. And then suddenly, the journalist says, you just see them. They suddenly like come to attention and they're like pointing to each other. Did you just see that? Did you just see that? That was like what they were waiting for. They could get like the thing about, whatever content was going on when whatever they're teaching about. And I'm sure it was impressive stuff that this teacher, that was not interesting to them. But when they saw that kid kiss the safer, suddenly they saw something.
I have a friend, an acquaintance from India,
Yeah.
Bharat Jumjumwala, who lives
Spell that.
um, Bahrat.
Now,
Okay.
walla, by the way, is what they say after like somebody's job, like a jum walla. Because I know like tea walla means like a tea
Walla is the
salesman.
guy who carries the stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, his name is Bharat Jumjumwala. So it could be
Got to
his
find out
family
what
had the.
jum is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so he lives in the foothills of the Tibetan mountain ranges. He's an economist actually.
Yeah.
So he came to New York. We'd been corresponding. He came to New York, and
Yeah.
I invited him to come to Yeshiva University.
Yeah.
Gave him a tour. Um, got some of the excellent pizza. Anyway, so uh, we walk into the bait.
Was he a fan of pizza? Bharat Jumjumwala?
Not really, no,
I
no.
don't. Doesn't seem like that would be something that
So
would.
he didn't look like he ate much of anything. Anyway, so we walk into the base medrash. There are like it's middle of morning seder. There's 500 guys learning. They're getting into it. They're discussing. They're arguing the Gemara. They all got the Gemaras open. And he looks at it and he says, "What? So explain to me what were they doing?" I said, "Well, these guys are all studying. They spend all morning and early afternoon studying Talmud, which was written about 1500, 1600 years ago in Babylon in Aramaic, Hebrew lettering, but it's Aramaic language, and they're studying it and they're arguing about their understanding of it, and reviewing the teachers, and he started crying, and he said the only people who study the ancient Sanskrit language in India are scholars, senior scholars. He says the idea that there's hundreds of young people studying enthusiastically
Yeah,
an ancient text written in an
yeah,
ancient language that no one speaks anymore, almost no one speaks anymore. And he says they're doing it with enthusiasm. And he says, and because I'd explained to him, it's not part of their college degree. They're not going
right,
to get a profession out of it. And it was
right.
just this idea was absolutely mind blowing to him, mind blowing. And the
You
idea,
know, yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
the
So
idea that you
I
do a
I took a
seal,
tour.
yeah,
Well, that take you remember you were our tour guide. We went to Lakewood
yes,
with I had some couples from Northbrook, and we hired Mordecai. Not that he's for hire, not that he's for hire. I meant Mordecai graciously agreed to be our tour guide. So and when Mordecai's your tour guide,
I
you
am for
get
hire if anyone wants it.
first class treatment. It was embarrassing how well we were treated because we're just regular people from Northbrook. There was no reason to give us special attention except for the fact that Mordecai was our guide. So when we went to Lakewood, first of all, we went to YU before you actually started teaching there
Yeah.
because they were trying to recruit you. And therefore, even at YU, we were getting VIP treatment at YU. Everywhere we went, we got VIP
They're very
treatment.
nice to everyone.
In Lakewood, Mordecai's like close friend, Aaron Cutler, spoke with us, and then the mayor of Lakewood spoke to us. The chief of police of Lakewood spoke to us. This would never happen if it wasn't Mordecai giving us the tour. But anyways, so Aaron Cutler he told whoever's taking us around to let us go into a couple of the Bate Midrash because I forgot it was called Baron or something like that. It was this building that had several base
Oh yeah,
medrashes in it, and
Baron.
each one had like 500, at least 500 guys in it. You just open a door, and it
The
would
noise.
a wave of sound would come out. And I want you to know these people had never experienced anything like this. The door opens, and we were standing there not even a minute. I don't think the door opened, and we're standing there. That minute was one of the deepest spiritual experiences anyone had had on that thing. Just the energy, the sound of it. And because of that experience, I went to a wedding maybe a year or two later, and it would happen to be in Lakewood with some other guys from Northbrook who hadn't been there when we did this. And we took a taxi there, and I said, this what's going to about to happen is going to change your life. And same kind of thing. We open the door to the base medrash, and I tell you, it does. That you could hear anything you want, any polemic you want to hear about yeshiva, about Haredim, about whatever it is, any polemic. Allow the person just to have a moment, no speech, just have a moment and open the door and just allow for that to come out and to see, like you said, how young they are, how young everybody is, and just to feel that energy coming out. It was, there was even a guy he was a Lubavitcher from Chicago who came with us, and he happens to be a Talmud Chacham, and he's a really nice guy. But anyway, so he after that trip, when we came back, somebody asked him, "What did you think of Lakewood?" And he said, "Well, I looked at the Sfarim in that base matter. Those Sfarim are just not being well treated." And then I looked at him and I go, "You're trying hard. You're trying hard because you felt it, my friend. You felt it when that door opened. There is nothing you cannot ignore that experience of of the life of it, the being alive."
Yeah.
Which I want to segue for 1 second to tell because there was a story. We were talking about this a little bit before. I was trying to see if Mordecai remembered it. Mordecai actually met this person. There's a rabbi in Melbourne.
Rabbi, he passed away a number
Yeah,
of years
he
ago.
was
His
in
name
Melbourne.
was Rabbi Abaranok.
And how did he end up in
Well,
Melbourne?
he was a student of the Chafetz Chaim, Rabbi Shalom Kagan, in Europe. He, I think, during or after the war, got to New Zealand. I think story has it that he had a grocery store there, and he was recruited to be the rabbi of a very large synagogue in Melbourne, Mizrahi, where my family goes right now in Melbourne. My sister, brother-in-law, nieces, and he was the rabbi there. Brilliant Torah scholar and a amazing man, a good sense of humor, and an amazing collection of books.
That's why we're talking about this. He had an amazing Sfarim collection. Now we have this shared friend who we call Ketzel, and who is just a ridiculous Talmud Chacham, and he ended up marrying somebody from Melbourne
Yes.
who was a very well connected member of the Melbourne community.
Mhm.
And it was sort of funny because he's the simplest person. And he married into a family that is aristocratic,
Yes.
some aristocratic. So he is at this person's house, this rabbi's house, and apparently, like I don't remember if it was a Maharit, it was some sefer he saw in the bookcase, and he had never seen one in print, and he reached to pull it out of the bookcase, and the rabbi just like rushed over to it and goes, "Oh, wait," because he was worried that he was going to um, break the binding or somehow harm the safer. And these are collectors. These are collect, and part of the deal of collect, because I have like right here, I have
Understandable.
see this.
Yes.
It's small. It's not large. This is a Choshen Mishpat. This volume of Choshen Mishpat is from 1699. It is
Wow.
perfectly readable. Perfectly readable. Look at this paper. I got something here that's from like 1940, a Haggadah. Every page is like it's gonna break in your hand if you touch it. This thing is from 1699 and it cost
Wow.
me $10. Why did it cost me $10? Because it doesn't have the front page. Little things like that. If you have any slight bending or damage, it can greatly affect the value of it. But it was just like this moment where he was commenting on it. And for us, this is even we're having this subject today. You have to remember, it's like the book becomes the actual physical book becomes more important than the contents. It's
Yeah.
like and that is one of the problems you can have when
With
you
collecting.
start to get connected to what are considered valuable sparring. But anyways, he
You
was just
feel
like,
connected though to the owners initially. I
yes,
know
no, I
someone.
know, I know, and I'm there with you on all this stuff.
Yeah.
He's such a non-material human being, and all he was interested in
Just the
was
content,
was
right?
the content. And it was like, but he had to be careful, like somebody had to be there around, like to make sure that he didn't mess up
Mhm.
the safer. um
I know someone who collects old
yeah,
Sfarim. A few people.
yeah,
One of them has the Machzor Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur Machzor of the Rav Moshe Chaim Luzzatto with his
actually owned by him.
yes, with his handwritten notes in the on the side of the page. The notes have been published in a separate book, but he actually has the Machzor that was used by Rav Moshe Chaim Luzzatto himself
Yeah,
for Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur prayers.
yeah,
So I don't know, the experience of davening for Machzor is incredible. I saw
yeah.
also he had a Chumash handwritten from 1020
Oh my
France.
gosh. Wow.
Obviously no Rashi because it's
It's before
20
Rashi.
years before, yeah, 20 years before Rashi was born. So it's quite impressive to see things like that. And of course, we do have, and maybe we'll talk about this next week.
Well, how did he have it though? Like,
He bought
could
it.
you touch it? No, I'm saying,
Yeah,
could you touch? He
yeah.
let you
He
touch
he
it,
kept it in a safe, and he's got a humidity controlled room and
but he
office.
allowed you to actually handle it.
Yeah, yeah,
Cool.
yeah. I was careful, obviously, but
Right.
yeah, but you can
Th-
handle it. He uses it. They're both in incredible condition, like mint condition. It's incredible to see. And one of the things that I'm impressed by also, and I think other people
Yeah,
have been, we
yeah.
do a siyum. When we finish studying a section of Talmud or a piece of a book of the prophets, etc., we actually have a party.
We
We
celebrate.
celebrate. The special prayers to be said. It's a festive occasion.
Mm.
We have food. People do barbecue. It's like it's an incredible, incredible thing. I'm sorry. And it
Yes.
is part of this love that we have.
Yeah.
I know I
Yeah. For
sneezed and my
learning.
camera went crazy. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, we're back. We're back.
Yeah.
So it is part of this Jewish love and passion for books. I would like to, hopefully next week, that I
Yeah.
want to speak about with you about the ancient Gniz. Because when we
Yeah. That's, I
finished with
just,
a
could
book,
you just, there's two things I just want you to just
right?
give us a little bit,
Okay.
a little something,
For
a
those who
little
do not know,
taste.
when a holy book, a book of Torah, a book of words of Torah is worn out, we don't throw it away. We put it aside. Sometimes they're buried. Sometimes they're put in special attics or crypts in synagogues, which is called a genizah, or also known as shemot. Shemus because it means names of God. So there are a number of famous genizahs. The most famous probably is known as the Cairo genizah, which has books, manuscripts, contracts, ksuvas, etc., dating back 1,000 years. That the Jews of Cairo, and Cairo is a very cosmopolitan, internationally connected Jewish community. So there's
Yeah.
things from all over the place. One of the earliest Yiddish letters from a mother to her son who was in Cairo, which
Which is
begins
weird.
well,
Yeah.
which begins with a rebuke of the son who has not written to her, which is of course how you'd imagine, right? Um, but
Things have not changed.
more beautiful, there are handwritten manuscripts of Maimonides,
And
and
you've seen them. That's my
I've seen
point.
them.
You,
Yeah,
you were, where did you see them? Where were you?
in Cambridge University, which is where most of the Geniza is found,
Yeah.
is in Cambridge University in England,
Yeah.
and a lot of it is found in John Rylands University in Manchester,
Yeah.
some in Oxford University, a
Yeah.
large amount in the Jewish Theological Seminary in New York.
Yeah.
Yeshiva University, we have one manuscript.
One.
Okay, but yeah, one. So, in any case, but there are things when we talk about filling a connection. You've got a manuscript handwritten in Maimonides' handwriting of his Guide for the Perplexed with a doodle in it, where he doodled.
And you also said, I think, that you could see where he crossed out.
Oh yes,
There was like things crossed out where
his
he
manuscript of
changed
the
it.
Mishnah Torah. Yeah, like so he's got one where he wrote Hilchot Nezikin, laws of damage. He crosses out the word Nezikim, damage, and he writes Hilchot Nizkei Mamon, damage by property. That was he was
That's an
thinking about
actual correction,
he
an
was thinking
edit.
about he was thinking about the title, and he
Yeah.
realized and there's places where he crossed out things, and
And you're seeing this kind of stuff.
yeah, you can see this. This is available.
That's
Much of
awesome.
it is online now.
Yeah.
You don't have to actually go to
Right.
Cambridge or Oxford. You can just go online, and there's a little magnifying glass program, and there's all type. You can see it online. But we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah. But
There's a
also, I want, just
tremendous
before
amount.
we go, I want to talk
Yes.
about one other thing, which is you have a story, which I remember hearing from you decades ago, about your kids you took your kids to the Israel Museum to see the Dead Sea Scrolls,
We went to
amongst
the
other
Israel
things.
Museum. The Israel
Yes.
Museum I don't know if it still is, but it used to be free for children
Mhm.
living in Jerusalem.
Okay.
So we used to go there a lot. In fact, I left the kids there for 3 weeks. My wife and I went away. No, I'm joking.
And that was
Yeah, that was great.
yes.
But we used to go there.
And they're
So
better off for it, a lot of people
much
say.
better, yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
people fed them, they were okay.
Yeah.
Right. So we were at the Dead Sea Scroll exhibit, and one of my kids actually climbed up onto one of the display cases and started reading from the scroll of Isaiah, which was this particular scroll was written approximately 2,200 years ago, copied from something written
2,200 years ago,
approximately,
and his son
is reading it.
is reading it. And he's not just reading it.
He calls me over. He says, Abba, We were doing this in school 2 weeks ago. I
He
started
knows
crying.
what it's saying.
I started crying. I said he remembers what he was doing in school 2 weeks ago. It was a moment. Just I took out the tuition check, which I keep in my wallet. Right,
Do you know,
unbelievable.
if you read English, try, for many of us, if you read Shakespeare,
Ah,
many of us do not understand Shakespeare, but some of us might get by on Shakespeare. Try reading Canterbury Tales.
oh,
You could not, in its original, you cannot read, even though it's an anti-Semitic screed. But in the Canterbury Tales, try reading it. It is undecipherable. That English from like 600 or 700
600.
years
Yep.
ago is undecipherable. And Beowulf, which is a few hundred years before that,
Impossible.
and
Impossible.
this is 1200 years before Beowulf.
Well, wait, it's 2,200 years old, was written 2,200 years ago, but it's
Yeah,
actually
it's old. It's much older than
Yeshaya,
that. Yeah,
Isaiah lived like 500 years beforehand, 600
right.
years before. And not only was my son able to read it, it's square Hebrew script. He
Yeah,
actually had studied it, some of it in school.
yeah,
He has friends called Yeshaya, right?
yeah,
The subtext about Shabbat and festivals is familiar to him and to us. So that
yeah.
is something extraordinary, our
I
connection
agree.
to the past through that. And so hopefully, God willing, next week
Yeah.
we'll speak about, we'll talk a little bit about the Cairo Geniza, etc.
Okay.
Folks, if you like this, then like it
Yeah, yeah.
and also share.
What if you love it? What if
Tell
they
your
love it?
friends. If you don't like it, tell your enemies, and they'll
What
suffer.
if they love it? What can they do if they love it?
I don't know.
Is there anything?
I don't know.
There's just liking.
I guess you could send us a
It's
check,
not
but
very enthusiastic. I think there should be something that's special for
more than
loving
like.
it.
I know on
Yeah.
some platforms there is a love thing.
A little heart. You can
Yeah,
do
I
a heart
believe
on
so.
some of them.
So we'd be happy to
Yeah.
get that as well, right?
And a shout out to Yishai Nankin. I want to shout out Yishai Nankin is in high school at the HTC, and he told me that the computers at HTC they have these filters. You can't get a lot on them, but you can get Apple uh, podcasts. And
Ah,
so you can't listen to much, but he listens to us. Yishai, shout out to you, Yishai Nankin.
okay. That's impressive. Okay.
Yeah.
And fine. So God willing, folks, we'll see you next
Mm.
week. And thank you for watching.
Be well. Bye bye.